Hello and welcome to Enchantment of Eternity. So, as I've been promising a couple of my avid viewers, such as I know Colonel Doomsday and Timo30 have been really interested in this. I know a lot of you've watched my live Q&A videos. I've been promising you this, so I'm finally giving a compilation of my best rants. Now, this actually, I had to watch like over an hour of footage of me yelling to get it down to what I think is the best. And so this is a warning, you know, for those who might be saying, because I got a few comments on a couple of these videos these clips are from, I'm about to show you, of people saying, dude, calm down, it's just a TV show. And if that's your outlook, then you may not want to watch this video, because this is me yelling and saying the F word a lot again. So if you're sensitive about profanity, again, this isn't the video for you. Also, don't watch this. It's not recommended to watch this video with headphones. yeah, be careful about your ears. Anyway, so yeah, this is a lot of yelling and screaming, so if this is not your thing, then just skip this video and check out some of my other videos. But yeah, for those of you who liked my rant, and I got a lot of comments from people who say they love my rants, so I thought I'd compile some of my favorite rants into one video. And you'll probably notice by the time of this video, when you clicked on it, is actually quite long, because yeah, I had like an hour worth of footage. I had to whittle down some, so I had to choose the best, the cream of the crop, because I know people wouldn't want to spend 40 minutes watching me yell, and as it is, I only narrowed it down to like 25 minutes, which I think might be too much yelling for most people, but maybe not, and maybe some people will enjoy this. So this is for you, the viewers, and this is also interesting for me to. This is my favorite ranting moments, so enjoy. Oh yes, and by the way, I should give a spoiler warning. Because there's a lot of different material on here. So for Game of Thrones up to season 6. For Star Trek Voyager up to the end, I talk about the final episode a lot, and The Walking Dead up to season 6 finale, and Fear of the Walking Dead and their season 2 mid finale, and also the X-Files, the season 10, the one that just came out, and this movie called Under the Skin, which I wouldn't recommend seeing, so don't worry about it. So yeah, a quick spoiler warning for those things, and Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, but come on, everyone's had to see the Return of the King by now. So yeah, if you see something that you don't want spoiled for you that you haven't seen yet, then just mute it or fast forward or whatever. But anyway, enjoy. Plus, why the hell is he going around blowing up planets? Why doesn't he, I don't know, try to prevent the destruction of his home planet? And don't tell me he's trying to save his own planet by destroying the Federation of Worlds, which is a lame excuse they gave in the film, because that's flimsy logic right there, because he's changing all of history. He has no idea how the destruction of the Federation would affect Romulus in the future. Instead, he should have traveled back to his own time, but right before Romulus was destroyed, in order to save it. I guess it's because he's crazy, and he's too busy twirling his mustache to think of it. I'll try not to go off on another rant about how ridiculous it is to complain about fireball throwing in the show, where there are 3 huge dragons, giants, people coming back to life, and an army of fucking ice zombies, and fireball throwing is the one thing you have the problem with? Oh, come on! Anyway, so my experience of watching this film can be summed up like this. Basically, the director of this film was using the medium of filmmaking to yell at me for 2 hours, constantly saying, "Look at how artsy I am! Look at how creative I am! Aren't I so artsy? Huh? Aren't I so artsy? Ha ha ha! Aren't I?" And I'm like, yeah, dude, I get it. You're artsy. Now, can you just try to tell a fucking story? The other common response I got, to why one shouldn't have supported Brinley is because he had no true claim to the throne. And Stannis, by law, was the next in line to be king, not Brinley. So, let me be completely frank in my response to this argument. So what? I'm sorry, but if you think that really makes a difference, then you are making the exact same mistake that Ned Stark did. But I'm so annoyed at the fact that so many people complain that this film's ending was too long or that it had multiple endings. I personally think that's complete horse crap. All of this film's so-called multiple endings were absolutely vital to the film, and it would have been an absolute travesty had they left out any of them. Although I do think there are a few caveats to this, which I'll get into as I explore the endings. So first off, Frodo throws the ring in the fire, and Frodo and Sam run from the mountain that is exploding. Some feel they should have ended the movie here or consider this the first ending. And I'm not going to sugarcoat this. These people are fucking stupid. I'm sorry, but there's no other way of saying this. I can't tell you how outraged I would have been had they ended this movie here. I would have been likely to go on a murderous rage. So, once Seven is on the Borg ship with the Borg Queen, she tells Seven that she placed 7 of 9 on Voyager so that she could learn about the humans, and Seven could return to her with the information so that she could use it to create a bioweapon to assimilate Earth slowly through nanotechnology. I'm sorry, but that's just fucking stupid. I don't even know where to begin with this bullshit. First off, I'm not buying for a single goddamn second that the Borg Queen planted 7 of 9 on Voyager. To suggest this insults my intelligence. Watch the events that took place in the episode Scorpion. The Borg didn't want an alliance with Janeway. She had to force it. And the Borg, and 7 of 9 in particular, constantly and consistently tried to assimilate Voyager. To suggest that she was planted there on purpose is some of the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Now, some might argue that if you were to get out charts and graphs and were able to chart the exact time period of each event and where the different storylines take place, that it would all match up and make sense. And my response to that is no fucking chance in hell. Do you really believe that one of the writers has charts and graphs that keep track of exactly where each storyline and everything is taking place? If you do, then I have some oceanfront property in Arizona to sell you. So I'm sorry to be blunt, but if you believe these two scenes are completely unrelated and it's all just a huge coincidence, then I have some oceanfront property in Arizona to sell you. So anti-Star Trek is unbelievable. Like, the whole point of Star Trek is they don't care about material things. So it's even meta against Star Trek because it's about a company paying them money to put their fucking product in. And the product has no business, and it has a stupid ringtone. You're saying the stupid phone is going to have the same goddamn ringtone 300 years in the future. And this is supposed to be a society where they move beyond money, beyond material. Fuck it. All right, I'm going to move on about this. I could rant forever about it. It just fucks me off as one of this film's worst offenses. And my number one least favorite episode is the series finale, Endgame. And my number one least favorite Star Trek time travel episode is, of course, Endgame. And the number one worst finale from my favorite TV shows is Endgame, Star Trek Voyager. And my number one worst Borg episode is, of course, Endgame. To what was the worst possible ending a show could possibly have, with the absolute worst final episode in history that took a great big dump on Voyager's legacy and gave all the hardcore fans of the show the big middle finger.
This middle finger, this was the biggest middle finger to the audience, was the ending of the show, where they get home and boom, they're home. We're not going to show you what happens. Fuck you. Fuck you, audience. You spent 7 years trying to find out what happened after these people get home, and we're not going to show it to you. Go to hell.
They managed to suck all the fun out of Voyager finally reaching its long-term goal and reaching Earth. Borg goes, this is the episode that made them completely, ridiculously invincible and unstoppable, but for some unknown reason, they just hold back from conquering the Federation and come up with these ludicrous plots to do so.
They could have sent a fleet to Earth. In the past, in these other episodes of Voyager, the Borg talks about, we really got to assimilate Earth. Well, why haven't they?
If they could instantly send a fleet of Borg ships to Earth, why haven't they done it yet? Why do they bother with these ridiculous plans to travel back in time or to use 709 to get Earth? And why not just send a fleet there? Bam, Earth is yours, problem solved. No need for time travel or to plant a random drone on a Federation starship or fancy bioweapons for that matter. You know, she even said in this episode, a direct assault always fails. And that's when I was screaming at my TV, that's because you only send one ship, dumbass! One of the producers once said that the goal was to have Voyager do for the Borg what Next Generation did for the Klingons, but in actuality, Voyager did for the Borg what Jar Jar Binks did for Star Wars Saga. The number of people died in these 16 years were almost double that amount of people had died in the previous 7 years. It's almost because Janeway's good friend 709 Tuvok died that she decides to go back in time to change things.
So it basically makes Janeway look like she's playing favorite. She's like, well, I don't care about these Joe Blow ensigns who died. Fuck them. But Tuvok, well, holy shit, I gotta go back in time and save that. So what kind of a dick move is that when she's just playing favorite? She's saying, oh, forget about Hogan and Ensign Ballard and Joe Carey. I don't care about those people. I just want to save Tuvok and 709. It makes her out to be a horrible person. Now, the Voyager got the shit beat out of them during those 7 years, but, you know, it seems like they did very well for themselves in these imaginary years that they erased. So, 7 of 9 means a hell of a lot more to Janeway than all these other things. It's ridiculous. Let's not forget the horrible romance with 7 of 9. Chakotay. It was one of the worst romances they ever done in track history. And it had ridiculous, implausible romance. Doctor in 7 of 9 for 3 years. The audience was very invested in that, but they just tried to play it off like, oh, the Doctor, he gets some bimbo in the future. So 7 of 9 can hang out with this guy she has no interest in before. It's fucking stupid. And since when in the hell is Reginald Barclay a main character on Voyager? And I'll continue to list this on all of my worst lists as eligible for, because this is one of the all-time worst episodes in all of Star Trek. This is fucking stupid. So 3 characters, Duran, Hota, and Tristain, are just dead, just like that. And what a fucking waste. I was saying that, you know, along in my prediction videos, that my hope for Dawn in Season 6 is that its Season 6 storyline would justify the Season 5 storyline and make it better. But so far, it's making it even worse. As my main issue with it is that they had all these interesting characters like Duran, Hota, that we hardly see, and so I thought they could redeem the storyline by showing off how badass they really are, but instead they just killed them off in the first fucking episode. What the fuck is this? This is total bullshit. And really, I want to mention that when I did my own review of The Winds of Winter, I had literally 2 sentences where I brought up Varys' teleporting, where I talked about it for literally less than a minute. It was 30 seconds. And then that video got absolutely bombarded by comments telling me that there are Dorne and Tyrell ships that can be clearly seen in Daenerys' fleet. So here's something I've been waiting to get off my chest for quite some time, and something that I really want to say to respond to these over 20 comments I got on my video. So fucking what? Who cares? All that means is that those Dorne and Tyrell ships teleported with Varys. To me, this movie used the whole parallel universe thing as just an excuse to be lazy and not follow up on the mythology, and so they can make up their own story, which is lazy. It's lazy. Some critics actually praise them for this. It's not to be praised. It's lazy writing. It's bullshit. Don't praise writers for being lazy and bad. Come fucking on. God damn it. Sorry. I'm ranting again. Whereas in the show, they went too far out of their way to portray Jaime as a really disgusting and rotten guy, as he had a nice chat with Ned's man one day and then put a knife in his eye the next day. He threw Bran out the window trying to kill him, and worse than that, he killed his own freaking cousin just so he could escape, because in his own words, he's not suited for a life of imprisonment. All poor rich boy, all aristocratic
fucking prim and proper, can't take prison, so he has to kill his own freaking cousin? Oh, I feel so bad for you. Fuck that guy. And then, all of a sudden, in Season 3, we're supposed to like him and feel sorry for him because he got his hand cut off and told a nice little story about what really happened with the Mad King. Sorry, I am not fucking buying it. I still hate this guy. The way it was done in the show was so artificial. It was like the showrunners were trying to shove Jamie down the audience's throat and be like him, he's good now, he's good. And my natural reaction is to spit him out and go, no, fuck you, I don't like him. And this is the bullshit that I hate the way these action sequences here, these space battles are portrayed in this final scene. It just overloads the sense. Too many of these modern movies think that war is better. And then we just overload your senses with all these explosions, CGI explosions. You have no geography. Like, I have no sort of sense of geography of where they are, what the ships are actually doing. All I see is explosions, explosions, explosions. And that sucks. It sucks. It's this thing that too many of these modern movies fall into the trap. I don't see why any of these fucking critics actually think it's good. It's bullshit. It's lazy, bad writing. Explosion, explosion, explosion. It's stupid. Fuck that. Ugh. Here's my question. If the New Republic is the dominant government in that part of the galaxy and the Resistance represents them, why is it called the Resistance? What are they resisting? Shouldn't they be called the Army of the Republic or something? Wouldn't, technically speaking, the First Order be the Resistance since they're the ones resisting the dominant government, which is the New Republic? You know, I'm sure someone who's read the novels or comic books that are canon will correct me and tell me I misunderstood the political situation, which is fine, I probably did, except for the fact that I misunderstood it because it wasn't freaking explained in the movie. And I'm sorry, but I shouldn't have to read a freaking comic book or watch a fucking cartoon to understand the simple political situations that should have been explained in the freaking movie itself. Okay, so first of all, I have several major issues with this, as there's no fucking way on God's green earth the Saviors could have fucking pulled this off. No way! I don't give a fuck how many men they have. There's no way they could have predicted all these precise moves unless they're like have omniscient godlike powers. They must be like Q or something like that. I mean, how the hell did they even know that they would be trying to get the hilltop so badly? Did they use their psychic abilities to deduce that Maggie was dying and they'd be desperate to get the hilltop? And for that matter, how the fuck would they know that they don't have their own doctor? Secondly, I'm not buying that they have this many men. This portrayal of the Saviors is totally inconsistent with how they've been portrayed so far, which has a bunch of incompetent morons who are very easily killed. And Chris Carter said in an interview that the explanation they came up with would fit with what happened in the finale, to which I expressed a lot of skepticism over, and it appears that skepticism was totally justified because the explanation was total nonsense. Oh, they had to reconstruct his body and he wears a mask. He's actually really disfigured underneath. Bullshit! We saw his fucking head explode. There's nothing left to reconstruct. This makes him come off as some sort of immortal, and you know, he even talks in this episode like he is, and you know, that he's some sort of god or something like that. And I'm sorry, but this is some cartoon level soap opera bullshit right here. It's complete nonsense. They obviously just like the villain too much and are coming up with lame ass excuses to bring him back to life, and it's just getting beyond ridiculous. So I'm sorry, any way you slice it, these flashback scenes are some ridiculous bullshit right here, and they spit directly in the face of all Star Trek lore that came before it. And no, it's not a minor nitpick. It's a massive spaceship-sized plot hole, a blatant example of sloppy, lazy, horrible writing, plain and fucking simple. To say otherwise reeks of lame excuses. And see, the season 6 R plus L equals J reveal. All right, let me go on a rant about that, because there was a lot of videos and a lot of people complaining about this side material on HBO website that they put out that showed that Rhaegar was Jon Snow's father. It was like, oh my god, this side material is spoiling it because the show didn't actually tell us that Rhaegar was his father. But that's total, complete horse shit. You have a fucking brain in your head. Use your goddamn brain. The show did tell you. They don't have to hit you over the head. Hey, guess what? Rhaegar is Jon Snow's father. Use your fucking brain. They had all the clues in there, like in the show itself. Just forget the novels, forget the books, forget the online theories. Watch the show just to show it fucking tells you that Rhaegar is Jon Snow's father. You just have to use your fucking noggin. Sorry, getting on the rant. And it's because they set up situations like, they have Littlefinger talk about, Rhaegar and running away with Lyanna and other things like, I don't know, they just did all these name drops like in Barristan talking about him. You fit all this together, and the fact that Rhaegar ran off with Lyanna and Ned Stark encountered Rhaegar's 3 Kingsguard, killed them, and then went up and found Lyanna. Obviously, she was with Rhaegar. Everything the show tells you, she was with Rhaegar, and she's having Rhaegar's son. They don't need to fucking state it outright for you to use your fucking brain to figure it out. So no, this bonus material didn't spoil anything because the show already fucking told you this. So first off, I have to start off by addressing this argument I've seen not just in my comment section, but in other videos as well, that I could not possibly disagree with more, is that the storyline with Cecilia is different and in fact somehow better than the storyline with Herschel from season 2 because it involves their religious beliefs about the dead and the Day of the Dead and glorifying the dead and all that sort of things, which is different than Herschel because he thought they were just sick. So does that make it different? Yeah, the show is not the same. It does make a difference. It does has a bit of a difference. However, let's look at the reboot of Total Recall. Is that different than the 90s version because it takes place on Earth, not Mars? Yeah, it's different. It involves like this little contraption that takes you from one side of the planet to the other rather than traveling to Mars. But does that mean that it's not a tired, unoriginal piece of crap retread of something that was already done? Hell no! Not at all. Not in the least. Not in the slightest bit. And in fact, I think that entire argument is an insult to my intelligence. It doesn't matter how they try to justify by making it be about more specific religions or rather than freaking, thinking that they're sick. It's the same goddamn motherfucking thing. Just like the setting Total Recall on Earth instead of Mars doesn't change the fact that it is just a tired retread of something that we have already seen. And in fact, that case is more excusable because the original Total Recall was awesome, whereas the storyline about them thinking the dead are still alive sucked to begin with. I'm not even kidding or exaggerating here about this fucking theme song. It was just so god-awful and ridiculous. And when Rick Berman and Bernard Brega were trying to defend it in the commentary, I was just like, nah, you've gone too far. Just don't even go there. Don't even try. There's absolutely, positively no excuse for this gigantic travesty. And it's not just that the song sucks, and make no mistake, it does. I think the Beavis and Butthead clip is appropriate as they were watching Michael Bolton. That's what this song reminds me of, Michael fucking Bolton. But it's not just that, it's the fact that they would attempt to have any modern day rock song as a theme to a Star Trek show is just beyond pathetic, and it's an outrageously, blatantly obvious attempt to appeal to pop culture audiences, and of course it doesn't work, and it's just pathetic and awful and disgusting and seriously lowered my opinion of Star Trek as a whole. That song is fucking disgusting. The song is the offense to my ears and it spits on everything that is good and holy in the world. This song could just fucking rot in hell and fucking die forever. Fuck that song! Who's going to kill was so fucking contrived. I mean, they switched back and forth with the shots and the eeny, meeny, miny, mo and showing close-up of each person with the bat in front of them. I mean, come the fuck on! Could they have possibly been more obvious on building the tension of who's going to die? I mean, give me a fucking break. But then, the worst thing that could possibly happen happens. They show a point of view shot of Negan killing someone, making it unclear who it is as he beats them to death. My God, what the fuck were they thinking? My fucking show. This is so much fucking bullshit. How can they fucking think this is okay? Fuck them. Fuck this show. Fuck everyone involved in this show. See that? He was promoted to captain of the Enterprise to relieve Captain Pike. He says, I relieve you, and Pike says, I am relieved. It's supposed to be all heartwarming, great cheer up and moment, except he's a fucking cadet! What the fuck? He should not be promoted to captain. If you fucking graduate the Naval Academy, they don't fucking say, oh, you're graduated the Naval Academy, now here's a fucking nuclear submarine for you to fucking command. What the fuck? He's only 20 years old. This is so stupid. Even if you take away the name Star Trek, even if you say it's just a normal movie, that is the dumbest thing in movie history. And fuck. All right. I love Screen Junkies. I don't want to talk bad about them. But how could they not mention that in their honest trailer? Really? That is the worst thing about this movie. There was some dickwad on one of my videos trying to comment and say, oh, they was trying to use the Varys excuse. Like the Varys teleporting excuse, saying, oh, you don't understand. Several years had passed between that scene and the previous scene. Bullshit! 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 And even if we say, okay, yeah, sure, a couple of years had passed, that still doesn't mean that he could become to the rank of captain within like a couple of years. I mean, obviously, it's not 30 years in the future because he's the same fucking age. Honestly, I don't think a couple years have passed. I think it was just a couple of months. And they fucking come straight from cadet to captain. That is so stupid. But seriously, though, I mean, maybe I overreacted by yelling so much about him getting promoted to captain from cadet. But seriously, that is a huge major flaw. And I can't understand why any critic would just give that a pass. That's total bullshit. You need to examine yourself as a critic and redo your studies and examine why it is that you think it is okay to give such a major flaw like that a pass. That's just my advice to any critics who love this movie. So that's it for my compilations of ranting and raving. I hope you enjoyed it. And just so you know, like, and then I kind of get angry, but I don't take any of this seriously. It's all in good fun. It's good fun, so I hope you had fun watching it. And if you enjoyed it, please check out some of the other videos I do, some of the ones that these are from, maybe, if you want to hear more about the context of those rants. And check out my future videos, as I'm currently doing a Game of Thrones Season 7 predictions series. And I also plan on doing a couple more Star Trek Top 10s and reviews and stuff in the coming months. And reviewing some newer shows that I'm watching. And doing Vikings, which is currently on. And then there's a bunch of shows in February that are starting, which I'll be reviewing as well. So be sure to subscribe if you're not already. And thanks a lot for watching.